Howie says, I sleep 8 hours mostly, and then I will nap once or twice during the day. So some people are nappers and some people are not nappers. I'm not a napper. So I know when I get hit with the need or desire to nap, that I know that I'm pretty run down. I know that, yes, the real Monet's garden. Yes. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I know that I've run myself down. So, looking at those cues, and if, like, for example, if Howie if he only gets 6 hours of sleep, how's that going to throw everything off? And it does. We have to hold on. Goodness. Um, so when we think about sleep, there's a couple of things. So when you lay down in bed, do you fall asleep easily? And then do you stay asleep? Or do you wake up in the middle of the night? So that 3 a.m. wake up. Do you get a 3 a.m. wake up? And then if you do, because a lot of people will want to get up and go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. But then when you go to lie back down, are you able to fall back asleep easily? So sleep disruption can come in a multitude of ways. Some people will lie down to go to sleep and then toss and turn for an hour. That's called sleep latency. So the amount of time it takes you to fall asleep, and that should be pretty short, like within about 15 minutes of time. If it's much longer than that, then your body it's restless. It doesn't want to rest and relax. So that can actually affect your whole night's sleep. So then when you finally get to sleep, the tossing, the turning, do you, again, that mid-morning, middle of the night wake up? How many times do you get that wake up? And so Kenny says, I lay down and poof, I hear about a minute of whatever music I put on. Yeah. So super, that's great when you can lie down and go right to sleep. Usually what'll happen if you're under a lot of stress. So we'll talk about that 3 a.m. wake up, and then we'll talk about all of the different factors that can affect your sleep patterns. Now, and then we'll talk about tracking it and strategies that you can use to try to fix it. So, so lying down at night to go to sleep, that's first and foremost. So have you eaten a late meal? So we want to try to get our meal timing in so that we're not eating right before we go to bed, because that can really disrupt your sleep patterns. And then alcohol can affect your sleep patterns. So depending on how late in a day or how much you've had, that can affect your brain's ability to shut down and actually go to sleep. And then how much blue light. So have you watched television? Are you staring into your phone right before you go to bed? That can change your brain signals, your circadian rhythm, and its ability or inability to fall asleep. So, if we think about sleep from an ancestral perspective, you think about our ancestors, they didn't have artificial light and they slept in sync with the rising and setting of the sun. And so, there's some people who would speculate that when there's a disrupted pattern, that, this could be an ancestral thing. So that 3 a.m. wake up could be related to the sleep cycles. But I think personally, it's more from a disruption in something in our day or something in our health. So, and then Kenny says, I do wake up about 3 hours later to hit the boys' room and then I go right back out. So that's good. That's a good, healthy sleep pattern. And Kenny, are you back to a nighttime sleep, or because Kenny was working midnights? So just wondering if you're back to a nighttime sleep, because even if that's your sleep pattern, but it's daytime because you're working nights, it's good that you have a healthy daytime sleep pattern, but it's still not great because you're working nights. Your body's not meant to do that. So happy that you're able to have a healthy sleep pattern in the face of having to work midnights. So just wondering if your sleep pattern has regulated since you're not on midnights anymore. So usually what happens on that 3 a.m. wake up, so when you wake up and you can't go back to sleep, This is a sign of stress. So, raise your hand if you feel like you've got some stress. Most people have some kind of stress in their lives, and it can affect us in very, very different ways. So, when you're under a lot of stress, your adrenal glands are constantly firing and pushing out cortisol, which is our stress hormone. And so what happens is that your body gets off rhythm in our hormone cycles. And so in the middle of the night, your body will it will fire, your adrenals will fire a burst of cortisol, and then you're like up and awake because your adrenals are like, hey, it's time to party. And this is where it can take a couple of hours to go back to sleep, because it'll take a couple of hours for that cortisol level to come back down, because cortisol wakes you up. So in the morning, your cortisol levels rise, and that's normal. But then again, when we're stressed out and they stay elevated for too long, that can also lend itself to chronic illness. So cortisol will fire in the middle of the night, and it's not supposed to happen, but then it can take a couple hours to leave the system, which is why it can take a couple hours for you to fall back asleep. Now, so let's see. Kenny says, back to nighttime sleep, but only because I'm off right now. Gotta admit, there's often a nap at some point in the day. Yep. And then Howie says, I stop eating at 5 p.m., walking 1 kilometer at 6 p.m. and sleeping by 8 p.m. and up by 4 during the day. So good. That's a great pattern. Good job, Howie. P Squared says, I do track my sleep. I have a pretty consistent score in the 80s. What are you using to track your sleep patterns? And 80s aren't great. I'm going to tell you, you got to, I would shoot to try to get that up into the 90s, high 80s, 90s. And if my sleep scores go down into the 80s, I know something's wrong, and I can feel it in my body. So I use a Oura ring. This is my sleep tracking ring. You can see the little meters in there. Yeah. So that goes on my hand, and I keep that on. None of the sleep trackers are 100% accurate, but I found that this ring tends to be more accurate than like a watch type of a tracker. I didn't like the watch trackers at all. I don't like having something on my wrist all night long. That feels just very cumbersome. I don't wear jewelry at night except for this. So this is the least of anything. And then sometimes I just won't wear it because I get tired of having any jewelry on at night. So I do give myself a break from that at least. And P Squared says, I would love to be in the 90s and I feel it. I'm using a Galaxy watch. Yeah. And so some of it could be because of the watches. The watches aren't all that accurate. I mean, it's a guide, it's a gauge for you. So, not saying don't use it, but it's a gauge. But I would definitely try to shoot for the 90s. So then start looking for what ways can you start to improve your overall health so it doesn't feed into your sleep. So let me go ahead and read some statistics here for you. So a typical sleep pattern starts with about 4 to 4.5 hours of deep sleep, followed by a shift into the lighter REM stage. While it's normal to wake up multiple times during the night, most wakenings are too brief to remember unless they occur during the lighter sleep stage. So we can also get hormonal imbalances. So especially with women in menopause, hot flashes, night sweats. This can cause so much misery for women and is really, really disruptive at night. So these hormonal imbalances can absolutely cause sleep disturbances. So, if it's not bad enough that, women, we have to menstruate our whole lives and then push humans out of our vaginas. And then, now we have to deal with hot flashes and poor quality sleep. Poor quality sleep is one of the biggest complaints that women, premenopausal and menopausal women go through because of the wonkiness in our hormones. And so this is where it just becomes that much more important to start to tap into what are the things that we're doing daily. How do we cinch it up so that we can have, again, I just go back to the basics. It's clean up diet, make sure you're moving your body, make sure you're staying hydrated, not having, limiting alcohol, and making sure you're not drinking too much caffeine, too many caffeinated beverages. And those things, it's a good start, but then there's other things too, like hormone levels are naturally going to decline as we start to get older. And so what do we do about it? I take a lot of supplements, and I also make sure that I'm maintaining the core of everything that we talk about. What are all the pillars of good health? So I'm really, really protective of my sleep. And, I don't like to, I try to go to bed at the same time every night. So that's another key component of getting a good night's sleep, is trying to get to bed at the same time each night. And then, of course, waking up about the same time every morning, which I definitely am able to accomplish that. So, so thinking about that, what is the consistency of your sleep cycle, and are you able to stick with that? So let's see. Kenny says 90s would be great. Knock 30 years off my oldness. Oh, wrong 90s. Hey, Michelle. It's my Dr. Michelle. Oh, yeah. Okay. So this is my dear friend, Dr. Michelle Schwen. She's in Iowa. Yes, so hot and so sweaty. The hot flashes are real, right? I mean, and the night sweats. I feel fortunate. I don't really get hot flashes during the day, but I'll get a couple of night sweats at night. And for the men in the room, it's like every pore in your body opens up and your whole body just goes like it's like a friggin' avalanche of water that just comes out of all the pores in your body. And it's annoying because now you're sleeping in damp clothes. So yeah. She did say she's super hot. And you know what? Here's the thing, Kenny, she is super hot. So yes. Yes, that's my girl. That is my girl. So, when we're dealing with hormones and women's health, this is one of the things. Poor quality sleep affects more women than men because of perimenopause and menopause. And perimenopause is that time before you go into menopause, the approximately 10 years or so before menopause. So, and this is actually, I would say it's an epidemic, because there are not too many people that know how to help women with this. And men, listen up on this too, because I know there's women in your life who this absolutely affects you and your relationships with them because of the things that they're going through. So, I know men like to think that hormones are a women's problem, but it affects everybody when the women in your life isn't healthy, or the women in your life and not necessarily not healthy, but just going through these issues. So when we start to check the boxes of good quality sleep, good movement, making sure you're, clean diet, limiting alcohol, all those things, good positive mental attitude, getting your chiropractic adjustments, because that will balance your nervous system and help keep you in a calm state of rest, digest, and repair rather than fight or flight. So all of those things, those are the things we want to look at first. And then, because I have a lot of women asking me about hormone replacement, and hormone replacement is one of those things where it's not going to be the be all end all. It may be appropriate for you, but then again, it's hard to find somebody who can manage that properly for you as well. So I like to think that I check all those boxes, because I can help people with the functional medicine side of it, the nutrition side, the lifestyle, and then get you to the proper people. If you really feel like you need hormone replacement, get you to the right people who are going to do the right things for you. So that's my whole take on hormones, is that it's not we can't just have a pill or a patch and think that that's going to do it. If you have a whole bunch of health issues and you go on hormone replacement, and you're probably still going to have some level of health issues. It's not going to reverse autoimmune issues. It's not going to clear your gut issues. It's may not even clear your migraine headaches. It could help migraine headaches because estrogen, once we go low on estrogen, it can actually cause more migraine headaches. So, again, there's just a whole host of things that can happen that having our, regulating our hormones after menopause can help, but don't let it be the panacea, the be all end all. Make sure that you're still tapping into all the things that are going to be serving you to be healthy, and make sure you're healthy from that cellular level. P squared. Yes, hot flashes are like fire. I know, like you've just walked into a furnace. I remember my mom used to stand here at my door wall. She'd have a hot flash and she would open up the door wall. It'd be the middle of winter. She would open up the door wall and just stand right there and let all the cold, it's like 10 degrees outside. And she's like, I'm having a hot flash. I'm like, then go outside. Like, don't make the rest of us suffer. Okay, so what's next? But we're going to be talking more about hormones because I think that's just a really important place for us to make sure that we're paying attention to, because women get very neglected when it comes to their health, when it comes to perimenopause, postmenopause. I mean, P squared, you might be like, I'm in the 80s on my sleep tracker and you're doing all the things, but then what do we need to do now, here, going forward? And so we are an untapped or an underserved part of the population. And I'm actually creating a program to help train doctors to help more women get through perimenopause and menopause healthily. I know that may not be a word, but healthfully better. How about just more better? How about I just say more better? Anywho, okay, so let's go on to blood sugar. Now, blood sugar is very much also related to sleep. And so when we are stressed out, we will throw off our blood sugar levels. So now we're going back to that stress zone. So the liver becomes very much involved when we cannot regulate our blood sugar properly. So the liver breaks down glycogen, it releases it into circulation during fasting periods such as sleep. But even during sleep, the brain is still the body's primary consumer of glucose, so sugar. If liver glycogen supplies are low, so glycogen is our stored glucose, our stored sugars. If liver glycogen supplies are low, the brain releases cortisol, so there's our stress hormone, to get production back on track, causing wakefulness. So you can see how all that can build up. While a small amount of carbohydrate can temporarily alleviate hunger, you don't want to rely on the 3 a.m. snack to get you back to sleep. Consult a healthcare practitioner for blood sugar related sleep disturbances. And I've heard people talk about, hey, Lamika, nice to see you. Here we go. More hot flashes for me feels like internal combustion. Yes. Oh my gosh. I know, it's crazy. When I get the night sweats, what it feels like for me for a while, like it's finally like working itself into a sweat, but probably for about 2 years, it felt like this nerve pain that would start right in the center of my body and it would move itself slowly out to all my limbs. And it was literally like this nerve pain. And I don't know how else to describe it. And what I felt like was that if my pores would just open up and have a hot flash or a night sweat, I would be okay. But it was like my body was struggling to have a hot flash or a night sweat, and it just couldn't. So I really don't know what's worse at this point, because now it's more of a night sweat. So yeah. I mean, we are, it's kind of crazy. I mean, if I just let me go over to my, my documents here. So like I said, I'm writing this program to help doctors, to teach doctors how to manage their patients, their female patients. And let me just give you a little bit of, I know we're talking about sleep, but this is really important because, again, perimenopause and menopausal women have one of the biggest complaints is sleep besides hot flashes. We think of hot flashes, but hot flashes are not, it's not all of it. I mean, it's everything, which can be, can all feed into sleep. So fatigue, anxiety, hair loss, irritability, loss of libido, brain fog, hot flashes, joint pain, gut health, inflammation, belly fat, vaginal dryness, urinary tract infections, painful sex, muscle atrophy, so acne, digestive issues. I think I have that in there twice. Menstrual irregularities, pain, anxiety, and infertility even. So it's pretty crazy what women go through. And when we look at just some statistics here, so 2 million women enter menopause yearly. 75 million women are in perimenopause, menopause, or postmenopause in the US, with 6,000 more reaching menopause each day. 75% of women who seek medical care are left untreated. Isn't that crazy? 75%. 38% of perimenopause experience depression. This is why most women, when they go in to their doctors and they complain of these issues, they're given an antidepressant or a sleep aid, which is also not the answer to it. 80% of OB/GYN residents admit to being ill prepared to discuss menopause. 1/3 or more of women reported over 2 years and over 3 health professionals that they saw that took over 2 years, and they saw over 3 health professionals before their diagnosis was established. And the common concerns were difficulty losing weight, irregular menstrual cycles, and infertility. So we are suffering. We are suffering as a race, the female race. We've got a lack of knowledge, a lack of education, lack of information. And so I'm here to help change that. So that's our women. Now, when we go back into blood sugar and we talk about women being stressed out, what could be more stressful than having all these changes to her body? You're losing sleep. When you don't get enough sleep, then you throw off your blood sugar stores. It can actually cause disruption of your gut microbiome. And when you disrupt your gut, you guys have heard me talk about this multiple times on this show, is that we can't have a healthy body without a healthy gut, and we can't have a healthy brain without a healthy gut. So stress really feeds into so much of this. And again, if you're stressed, it's going to throw off that blood sugar and can cause that 3 a.m. wake up. So some of the solutions for that 3 a.m. wake up, I said I would get to that. Let me read what I wrote here. Let's see, because I've got some studies in here too. They call it the 3 a.m. club. So the 3 a.m. club, they say it can take a toll on your waistline, because some people will get up and actually eat at that point. Have you ever met people like that who, they're like, oh yeah, I get up and I eat in the middle of the night. It's like, what? I've never understood that. So think of this as hygiene, sleep hygiene. And so some of the things that you can do to practice good sleep hygiene is get that good sleep routine. So going to bed at the same time every night. And being very selfish with that, I think, is important. It's key that you make sure that you don't allow people to get in the way of you getting a good night's sleep, because there's going to be a backlash for you the next day if your body is struggling. Now, once or twice, or on occasion, you go to a wedding, or whatever, special occasions, things like that, it's going to happen. But it's like anything else. As long as you have a good, healthy sleep routine that you can get back to, that's really what you're looking for. So we want to avoid the blue lights, stay off our screens in the bedrooms. I know a lot of people have removed their televisions from their bedrooms. I know that there are some people who need complete blackout curtains. And I don't know, I guess I struggle with this. go back and forth with this, if you will, where when um, a lot of experts, when we talk about sleep, they'll say the room has to be pitch black. There cannot be an ounce of light coming in the room. And while that is true, or it can be true, the problem that I have with that is the inability to wake up in the morning. So I'm not sure what the right answer is, and I haven't really been able to find it. But I question the whole complete, sleep in complete darkness, because also when we talk about circadian rhythms and ancestral patterns, our bodies are designed to wake with the sun. So if you have complete blackout curtains, how does your body wake up in the morning? And will you be groggy? Will, you need the light to trigger cortisol to start to rise, to help start melatonin to decline, so that your body knows that it's time to get up and get on with the day. And I just don't know that having a room in complete darkness is going to help you on the other side of it. So I think there has to be some hybrid with that. And again, I haven't found any information that supports what I'm saying. It's just something that seems to make sense for me, because I know, like, if I sleep in a hotel room and I pull those blackout curtains, I mean, it can be 10 o'clock before I wake up in the morning. So I always leave a little crack in the curtains in the hotel, so I get that morning light coming in, because that's how I feel refreshed in the morning, is if natural light comes in and my body's hormones start to regulate as they should with the daylight. So Howie says, forest bathing will give you peace of mind to sleep and to be grounded of most anxiety. Google it, forest bathing. Okay, let's do it. Yeah, Google forest bathing. And of course, grounding all around nature like that. Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. I think that's why I love mountain biking so much. It just puts me so deep in the woods and in nature. And it's just so calming and nourishing to my soul. Hey, Chairman, look at you. Long time no see, my friend. Thanks for coming in. Nice to see you here. Kenny says, I used to need it to be all dark when I was younger. Now I could fall asleep in the front yard in full sun. That's pretty good. The couple of things I do have to do is like, I have electrical tape over my, I do have a TV in my room, because I do love to watch a little TV before I go to bed at night. Fortunately, I don't have the falling asleep problem, or I wouldn't allow myself to do that. But I have electrical tape over the television. It's a Vizio, so it's over the, with the thing that says Vizio. I have to put electrical tape over that, because otherwise it would glow all night. And okay, and that's annoying. So I can't have things like that, those sort of, but if it's like moonlight, I'm okay with that. So yeah, but yeah, don't, I'll be all trying to be a little blue light on the cable box or a little red light on a speaker or something, because you're going to see yourself get covered in electrical tape. Chairman says, I had to restart my channel because somebody destroyed my channel. Oh my gosh, that's awful. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, my friend. Wow. Well, it's good to see you here, and good to see you rebuilding. Let's see, where's why don't you, I'll have you do it. Grab your link and you can drop it in here. Happy to help promote that. The glow from the Vizio logo, it is, I'm telling you, that's what I'm weird about, right? So I'm not weird about like the moonlight coming in the window. I'm weird about like little glows like that. So like my ring, if it's on its little dock, which is next to my bed, it's one tiny little white light. It's so bright. It's so bright. So, that's like if I just want to charge it at night and I forget. So, yeah, I know. So I have to hide that sometimes. So, again, it's finding what's good for you, but you also have to be realistic too, and make yourself do things that you may not want to do. If I had trouble falling asleep at night, I would absolutely put a kibosh on watching TV. And I do read a lot too before I go to bed. So, sometimes if I'm feeling really amped up and full of angst from the day, reading something that I prefer to calm me down rather than watching TV, because I feel like that's more disruptive to my brain signals. Avoiding caffeine and alcoholic beverages close to bedtime. Now, caffeine can stay in your system for 10 to 12 hours. So it's really important to recognize, are you drinking beverages that have caffeine in them? And if you are, how late in the day? So how much caffeine are you having and how late in the day? So I usually tell people, just don't drink caffeine past noon. Now, my dad would tell you, he would say, oh, I can drink a cup of coffee and 10 minutes I can be sound asleep. And so what I discovered, I was always like, I don't know how he does that. That's crazy. I personally, I can't drink caffeine past noon, 1 o'clock, hard stop at 1, but it's usually like a cup of coffee that I've started in the morning. I'm at the office and that coffee's sitting there and I'm kind of sipping on it. And I've been sipping on it for, 3 hours. And then finally I'm like, oh my gosh, you just need to go put the coffee in the back. So that I don't sit and try to sip on it past 12 noon. But caffeine, there's the caffeine, when it gets processed through the body, goes through the liver, and we call this, so the body does a process called methylation, which is just it's a medical term for how the liver processes certain nutrients and foodstuffs, how it breaks things down. And when you're a good methylator, meaning you're going to get that stuff out of there fast. A lot of people will have fast processes for certain things in the liver. So if you're a good methylator of caffeine, so this is what I discovered. My dad must have been a good caffeine methylator. So he could get it out of his system really fast. I am a poor methylator. And so I discovered that again, I did genetic testing years ago. And that's when I started to read up on that. And I was like, that's so fascinating, and it makes you really understand that when, because I used to also, before I started studying genetics, I used to also say, no one should ever have caffeine past 12 noon, period. There were these really like hard and fast rules that I had learned, it's kind of like dogma, you learn things and it's what you've been told, it's how you've been taught, and there's only one way. And so that's the way. And then I started studying genetics and I was like, oh, wow, no, that's not necessarily the way. It's not really, if somebody can have a cup of coffee after dinner and enjoy it, then great, as long as they're a good methylator. How do they know that? They got to do a genetic test to find out, really. Or they may just know, like my dad, I could drink a cup of coffee and he would have a cup of coffee after dinner all the time. That was like his thing. So, and Kenny says, if caffeine stays in your system for that long, then I'm immune. You're like my dad. Yeah. Just drink it. And he would say, boop. I don't know where that boop came from, but that's what he would do. But anyway, being mindful of it doesn't mean you can drink a pot of coffee, because again, anything in excess like that is definitely going to affect you. And then of course, alcohol will absolutely, like if I go and meet a friend for a late lunch and I have a glass of wine at lunch, and then I don't have any other alcohol for the day, it doesn't even register at night on my ring. But if I have a glass of wine at 8 o'clock at night, it will absolutely register. It will tank my sleep cycle. It will tank my readiness. So you can see that's the beauty of having something that helps you track your sleep, is to have an understanding of how things actually do affect you. So that it's just really nice to have that feedback. So a whole pot is bad. Kenny, yes. A whole pot is bad, my friend. It's just not good, right? Okay. And then, also refrain from eating right before bed or having late night snacks. This is something also because of the way my schedule is. Sometimes I'm not eating dinner till 8 o'clock at night because I don't get home from work till 7. And and then, people have said, oh, well, you should eat earlier in the day on your work days. Well, that means eating at like 1, and that's not going to work for me either because I'm going to be hungry, which I still eat lunch, but so I just don't pay a whole lot of attention to the timing. I just make sure that when I have to eat late like that, it's very clean, it's wholesome, and it's giving me nourishment. I also do really well with higher protein meals late at night. And that can be something too, you can figure out if you have to eat late at night, what do you do best with? And Kenny, don't say pizza. So the other thing, so exercising daily, moving your body, breathing, make sure you're getting enough cardiovascular exercise, strength training, just moving in some way. Even if you can just go take a walk, a quick walk after lunch, after dinner, or in the middle of your day, just to re-energize your body. We weren't meant to sit for long periods of time. So if you can just get up and move a little bit every day, that is also really beneficial to sleep. And now this list here, it says create a cool, dark sleep environment. So I just addressed the dark issue, but the cool issue is this is actually really important, because if your room is too warm, that will affect your sleep. Your body temperature will start to decline within just not too long after you go to sleep. And go back here and grab that article, and then I can get you. Let's see where we at. So just so I can show you where you are in your sleep cycles. So stage 1 is the initial phase of sleep. It's about 5 to 10 minutes long. That's at sleep latency. And so if that takes much longer than about 10 minutes, then your whole night's going to be somewhat disruptive. So it's light sleep, slower heart rate, breathing, and eye movements. Your muscles are relaxed. You may get occasional twitches. Your brain waves start to slow down. It's not a deep sleep, but you're more prone to waking up in that stage 1. Stage 2 is a period of light sleep right before deep sleep. So your heart rate and breathing grow even slower. This is where your body temperature starts to lower and your muscles continue to relax. So if the room is too warm, then your body temperature won't drop. And having a lower body temperature is key to getting a good night's rest. So at this point in stage 2, your eye movements stop. It includes brief spells of electrical activity in the brain, and you spend more time here in stage 2 than in any other non-REM sleep stage. So stage 2 prepares you for deep sleep, and it accounts for about 50% of the sleep cycle. And then stage 3 is our deep sleep, and that's also known as delta sleep, slow wave sleep, or they call it N3 sleep. So during this stage, your heart rate and breathing slow to the lowest levels that occur all night. Your muscles continue to relax and your brain waves grow even slower. Deep sleep takes place for a longer period earlier in the night and becomes shorter as you progress through the sleep cycle. And it can last 45 to 90 minutes usually, and accounts for about 13 to 24% of your total sleep. So the benefits of making sure you're getting into deep sleep is this is where everything regenerates. Your cells, your tissues, your bone and your muscle will regenerate. You also get growth of bone and muscle. It's immune system support. So if you're somebody who gets sick often, you may not be getting good sleep. And by getting sick often, this can also be autoimmune issues. So do you have any kind of autoimmune issue whatsoever? Do you have asthma, chronic sinusitis? Those are all signs of your immune system struggling. This is where your energy gets restored. Your new cells get to grow, and all the old cells, like waste products, just go away. And your blood supply will increase too, which will also feed into more energy. So getting the benefits of making sure you're getting into those sleep cycles, and especially the deep sleep, is actually critical to your brain and your overall health. Now, things that can disrupt any of these cycles besides what we talked about, so lack of movement, lack of proper diet, poor quality diet, poor quality liquid choices. Let me take some more water. Thanks for stopping in, Howie. Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Um, and but what'll happen is if we aren't getting good proper rest, a lot of times people will reach for sleep aids. So let's talk about that for a minute. One of the most popular sleep aids that is gummies. So, and some kind of medical marijuana, something like that. Now, I would have to look this up, but my whole thought process is before you go to that is what can we do? Like, let's try the lesser potent things, because if we are pushing ourselves artificially too hard into a certain sleep cycle, how does that affect everything else downstream? And I'm just thinking out loud. So do gummies help people? Yes, absolutely. Medical marijuana, CBD, THC. I just always say, just don't smoke it. There's just enough evidence that shows us that smoke of any kind in your lungs is damaging to your health. So if you know it helps you, then just find another form to ingest it, but also making sure that you're doing all the other things. So I do all the things. And so part of my sleep regimen is I take an extra dose of magnesium at night. I do take 2 different supplements for menopause that help to balance whatever estrogen I have left. And of course, whatever testosterone I have left, and then any other hormones that, so I'm trying to do all the natural things for hormone balancing. And then I take an herbal supplement for sleep. And they're all kind of strategic. Like some of them have like the one product that I take, it has a what they call it, time-released melatonin. Part of that burst in the middle of the night is, again, cortisol going up, melatonin going down. So the beauty of a time-released sleep aid with melatonin is that you get that first burst of melatonin out of it, and then you get another burst at 3 o'clock in the morning. So it actually helps to prevent that 3 a.m. wake up. And I have been under a lot of stress in the past couple of 3 weeks. And I haven't slept well. So I know it's affecting me. So I'm kind of doubling down on my supplements. But it's just really interesting when you know you're trying to do all the things and your body's struggling with it. So I just had to get through it, and we're through it. So now we're on the other side. Let's see. Oh yeah, that was Howie. Yes. Thanks again, Howie, for being here. And Kenny, I'm going to tell you something. Chicken and a biscuits, those were my favorite crackers when I was a little girl, with spray cheese. I mean, you couldn't eat a chicken and a biscuit without spray cheese, which is just like, plastic spray cheese. It's like kind of plastic cheese. But anyway, things I did when I was a child. And just eat one leg off the gummy, maybe. Happy Mac, how are you? Nice to see you here. I don't know what dosages. I'm terrified of anything THC, CBD. My body. So when I talked about studying genetics over the course of my career, again, one of the things I found out about my body is I do not process THC very well, which would explain why I never had a good experience with it. And so, yeah, I'm just like, nope, that does not need to enter this body. So, and I do love a good gummy bear. Not a gummy, but a gummy bear. The white ones, the lemon ones, those are the best ones. Kenny says, huge weakness in mine. What, chicken and a biscuit or the spray cheese or both? Happy Mac says, I'll go through 4 days of horrible, very little sleep at least once a month. That's kind of crazy, Happy Mac. Have you been able to figure out what that is? That's really important to try to nail that down. And I love them so as a kid too. I know we have so many things in common, except we are yin and yang when it comes to mayonnaise versus Miracle Whip. So yeah. Happy Mac says, me too. My friend gave me a gummy 2 years ago and it stares at me when I open the cabinet. like just terrified. I know. Oh goodness. I haven't had either one of those in many years, but I just always remember how good they were, and I just avoid them at this point. Um, because they do not. So remember when I said, when you eat something, is it helping heal you, or is it killing you? Which side are you on with that? So, and yes, so I think it's stress. I just get a little overwhelmed. I mean, stress is crazy how it affects us. It's really, yeah, it's really insane. So, Miracle Whip blasphemy. Okay, I guess if I have to have one flaw, it's that I do not like Miracle Whip. So I'll tell you another one of my all-time favorite sandwiches that my mom used to make when I was a little girl. She would do a fried bologna sandwich with iceberg lettuce on Wonder Bread with Miracle Whip. And oh my gosh, it was so good. And we were poor, so she would take like all the food that you could get super inexpensive like that. And she would always turn it into like some kind of like crazy, you know, make it seem super special, fried bologna sandwich with a slice of tomato. And yeah, and my mom she was just extra like that. I'm thinking the moon phase, Mac. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, the moon phase for sure. But not gummy chicken and a biscuit, Kenny, for sure. Mm-mm. Yeah. I mean, it could be the moon phases, but I mean, if that's happening regularly too, it's like, what can you do to circumvent that, And sometimes, if you can like take an Epsom salt bath at night as well, like what can you do to help relax you? Diffusers are really nice when you use essential oils, relaxing essential oils. You can use like, lavender is a great essential oil for calming. There's different things that you can do before you go to bed. And again, just making sure you're avoiding those screens then too. Are those nights when it happens like that, are you working on something late? Are you at a computer? Are you watching TV? What are you doing that could be disrupting your brain signals? So Happy Max says, maybe. I've never kept track of the moon phase sleep thing. I'll try it. Yeah, that can be really helpful. Also, do you track your sleep? Do you have a sleep tracker, like a ring or a watch or something like that? Because that's, like I said, I've really, since I've gotten my ring, my Aura ring, it's amazing. Let me see what I got here. I think I have a link for Aura ring if anybody's interested. And is that today? Oh, it's actually, I have an account here. My account. Okay. I thought I had a sizing membership, flexible spending. Okay. I have somewhere, I've got a link that I can send you guys, and it actually will give you 10% off. And they just came out with the Aura Ring 4, which is, they say it's sleeker. This one was supposed to be sleeker, more narrow, just a little simpler design from the last one, but it's not, it's the same one. Because I had the second generation, and then this is the third generation. So Kenny says, no, I don't like Wonder Bread, but we'll count that as another connection. I did, yes. At one time I did. And that was really the only time I liked it. Oh, I did like it in tuna salad for a minute until I discovered mayonnaise. Yeah, once I discovered mayonnaise, I never went back to Miracle Whip. So I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I know. Right here with you, P squared. Yes. So yeah, Happy Mac, check that out. And P squared says I'm a fan of the ring. I might try it. Yeah, I will. P squared, I'll find my link and I'll text it to you. because that'll give you 10% off of the ring. So, and like I say, I really like it. It also it connects with the Strava app, which is, I use Strava for mountain biking, walking. So it's my activity app. This will tell you how many steps you've taken, all those things that you do in the day. But then that Strava app, it'll connect with that. So, all right, you guys, we are coming up on 1 hour. So what a great conversation. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll see you tomorrow morning on Reset Monday. And in the meantime, have an amazing week. Thank you all so much. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things. And thanks again for being here each and every week and supporting me. All right. Love you guys so much. Bye.